We are continuing the series where we are trying to show Ethiopian producers, people at the origin, where their coffee would be going, what the buyers would be looking at, and what the challenges are when they're trying to buy coffee directly from us from Ethiopia. So I would like to start with who you are and tell us a bit about your experience in Ethiopian coffee, and we'll go from there.
Sure. My name is Saurin Nanavati. I am a co-founder of Ethos Agriculture. I've worked in the coffee sector for 20 years. I'm also a professor and researcher at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, the United States. Ethiopian coffee, what it means to me? Well, we wouldn't be drinking coffee if it wasn't for Ethiopia. It is not just the birthplace of coffee, but I really think it's a symbol of what coffee means in terms of hospitality, what coffee means in terms of community, and what coffee means in terms of drinking it as a form of connection. I've been a participant in different Ethiopian coffee ceremonies, and I feel like that's the gift that Ethiopia has given the coffee world, is not just coffee as a drink or as a product, but showing us the proper way to drink it.
Amazing. We love that. So how are we doing when it comes to the international market? How does our image look from the outside? Ethiopian coffee with the Ethiopians, not just the coffee itself. Both of us, really. Are we representing our coffee well? What are we doing right and what are we doing wrong?
Well, I know that there's a lot of requirements in terms of quality that's associated, especially in the specialty coffee sector. But one of the things that I'll focus on first is, and I mentioned this earlier, the way in which we're supposed to drink coffee. When we drink coffee, coffee is made to allow us to connect to each other and connect to the place that it's from. Within the Ethiopian coffee ceremony, it feels that ritual allows us to really slow down and appreciate time together, appreciate listening, stories from our elders, and slowly we get brought into another way in which coffee enters us. It's not just drinking coffee for taste or drinking coffee for caffeine, but it's drinking coffee to, I would say, almost feel the spirit of Ethiopia. And when I drink at a jabina and I have the smell of incense and somebody serves me some popcorn or bread, this all makes the experience so much more rich. And I know that it's something that we don't see internationally. So many times I'll go to Ethiopian restaurant. I spend a lot of time in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And there's no opportunity to have a coffee ceremony. And I don't feel that it's celebrated. It's really, I think, the most beautiful gift that Ethiopia can share is how to drink coffee properly. In the United States, many people drink coffee alone. They drink coffee to speed up. They drink coffee in front of their computers. And it breaks my heart because I know that, that's really not the way coffee was designed to be enjoyed. It's designed for community, it's designed for connection, and it's designed for a way for us to collectively share a moment together.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you for saying that. Because
go ahead. No, finish.
I feel like we're losing the culture, the very valuable thing when we're trying to go outside and feel like this is too much. We just leave it and blend in. I think that's what's happening. That's why where we get this coffee from, they have jabana, they have sini with their own brand on, and I'm like, we're being represented by someone else. So that's something we would like to do. Well, we don't want to lose our roots in trying to fit in the outside world. Maybe we should bring the outside world into our roots.
Oh yes, I especially went to get some coffee from Guji here, and I have a few friends in Guji that really introduced me to, I would say, this Ethiopian way of relating to coffee, not just as a supply chain or as a product, but as a relationship. And they always say, come to Guji, we'll eat coffee together. Eat coffee in like a ball, right? They take the cherry and you fry it and then you eat it. And I remember I asked one of them, what does coffee mean to you? And he says, I cannot separate myself from coffee. Me and coffee are one. And it always stuck in my head that it's more than just a product, it's more than a beverage, but it's an identity. And I think that's the gift, once again, Ethiopia has, is when we think of coffee, many times we're just trying to sell a product. But Ethiopia's identity is associated with coffee. So that means the music, that means the fabrics and the textiles, that means the colors, that means the food. And the more that we can, and obviously that means the coffee ceremony. And the more we can bring all of that together, people will have a different experience with coffee. They will enter, not everybody has the resources to go visit Ethiopia. So we have to bring Ethiopia to all the countries that are drinking coffee. And when we can do that and we can bring people together in a big coffee ceremony, 10, 20 people together, we have someone with beautiful Ethiopian dress on with all the beautiful cups and the jebina. We light some incense, we roast the coffee and we serve it. We serve it in our 3 rounds. Yeah. We can teach everyone how to have a ceremony. And the ceremony doesn't have to be exactly like Ethiopian ceremony, but they should drink it with intention and as a way to learn from each other, as a way to share with each other. So I really hope that Ethiopians can take pride in this beautiful gift and share that gift and with all of the aspects of the coffee culture that comes from Ethiopia with the world.
You just motivated something in me and made me realize how beautiful our ceremony is. Thank you for that. And so while trying to keep that culture, while bringing that culture out, how do we keep up with the market? Because I feel like a lot of us Ethiopians, farmers, producers, exporters, are really worried about finding the international market. And in finding an international market, just like you said, we're thinking about the product. And with all the challenges, we're like, how do I find a market? How do I present myself to look as, I don't know, westernized or professional as the others when I get there? So finding a market and at the same time representing us. How can we, give me an example of this event, for example, me as an Ethiopian trying to sell coffee, what can I do to come here and blend both and at the same time appeal to the market?
Sure. There is 3 things to balance all the time when thinking about creating more visibility in the market. The first is people want to understand is the coffees that you're offering, what's the quality? So the quality, especially in the specialty market, is very important. And there's many ways to understand the quality requirements, but it really means when you send a sample, that sample represents a lot that you have, and that the people that are willing to take a risk in buying for the first time have a good experience, right? And they understand that the quality is there, that the communication because whenever you're trading coffee, there's a lot of communication back and forth. So the communication is there, and that the relationship is there. That there is somebody that will always answer your call and that will always help you find a solution, because the coffee trade is not easy. There is always something that happens. There's always some type of political issue, maybe some shipping issues, some finance issues. So we all have to have a good relationship with our buyers to be able to have the flexibility to overcome these challenges and eventually deliver coffee. Second thing I would say is the technical side of coffee, not just in terms of quality of coffee, but also the data that backs the coffee. Right now in markets like the EU, they're looking for full traceability. That means geolocations of all the farms that are associated with any coffees that they're planning to buy. And take that just a little bit farther, in terms of technical, it's really understanding the varieties, the processing techniques, your knowledge of cupping, like what the cupping scores are, the quality of the cupping, so they can really have a good professional conversation with somebody that is speaking the same language. And the third thing that I'll mention is the relationship. Coffee is transactional, it's technical, but it's also relational. And when you have a relationship, it's not just with the buyer, but it's also bringing in the relationships that you have with your farmers, making sure that the buyer feels connected to the people and the places that are producing coffee. And you want to invite that buyer. Ethiopia is one of the most beautiful countries that I've ever experienced. But if that buyer is unable to come to Ethiopia, you bring Ethiopia to that buyer. You design a coffee ceremony for that buyer. You invite that buyer's team into the coffee ceremony. And that allows people not only to enjoy the excellent coffees that you have, but then to connect on a deeper level. And I don't think of coffee ceremony as just a simple act of drinking coffee together. I really do think it's a way of sharing our spirit. And the spirit of coffee, the way coffee was designed by God for us to enjoy, has to be enjoyed through a ceremony.
Beautiful, amazing, I love that. And maybe if you can tell us, so you trade in different countries, or you've seen
Sure.
the experience of trading in maybe different African countries, South American countries. How do you compare trading Ethiopia, the challenge, the positive things to the others, and what can we improve, what can we work on an individual level or a government level to make trading with us easier, to make Ethiopian coffee more accessible? Because there are a lot of people in Ethiopia trying to sell Ethiopian coffee, and I know there's a market for it, but there's a gap. So what would you advise?
Sure. Now, I know that Ethiopia has some of the best coffees in the world, yet the reputation is that it's difficult to actually get those coffees out of Ethiopia for a number of reasons. One is financing, actually getting the financing in the hands of the cooperatives or of the exporters so they can then purchase the coffee from the farmers and fill a container and then ship it. So currently I work in East Africa. We have a coffee cupping lab and export services in Kigali, Rwanda. And we support cooperatives from many different countries. They send us their coffee, we taste them, we give them a cupping score, we help them organize their communication, their data, and then we support them in actually meeting buyers. Once we make the connection to meeting a buyer, it is usually small lots that the buyer is buying to gain trust and to demonstrate that there is a commitment, that there's consistency, that the samples are the same as the shipments that they're receiving. And so little by little, the buyers, once they have that trust and build a stronger relationship, they're willing to purchase more. So first thing is first is to really start small and create that trust. Secondly, these events are very important. Having representatives like Aman here that's going out there and talking about Ethiopian coffee really creates attention, and then offers an opportunity for people to understand which regions have special flavor, which regions have special landscapes, which regions have special coffees that represent the people and places. And that's the importance of these trade shows. So having those coffees available at the Ethiopian booth, and the Ethiopian booth really celebrating Ethiopia. It should be the most popular booth at every trade show because this is where Arabica coffee comes from. So we should then also always appreciate Ethiopia as the place that first started this entire sector. So the presence that Ethiopia has at these trade shows is really important. AFCA, the African Fine Coffee Association, is a trade show that happens every February. Next year in 2027, it will be in Kampala, Uganda. Also a very important event for Ethiopians to show up and to really, once again, celebrate your culture, celebrate your coffees, but also then have a chance to to meet buyers that are participating in those types of trade shows. The coffee trade is not easy, but building a relationship with coffee buyers, those buyers, if your coffees are excellent and your communication is good, if they see that there is a beautiful story and that these coffees are not just a product, but it's a form of livelihood, it's a form of celebrating a landscape, these are the things that they're looking for. And it's really, I think, Ethiopia is perfectly positioned to increase your exports, but we do have to make sure that we have the data. We have the all of the professional steps that are associated with sending samples, understanding your cupping scores, and understanding how to not just send one email and expect people to come back to us, but to continue to follow up and slowly over time build a relationship. Even if they're just buying a few bags, over time they'll buy a few boxes and containers from you.
Can you think of anything more that would be beneficial for people in coffee in Ethiopia?
Well, I mean, communication is arguably the most important. If you see the countries or even the roasters or the exporters that are doing the best at these trade shows, they seem to be communicating the most. And it's not just about volume of communication, but it's the quality of communication. Being able to tell stories from the farm, being able to tell stories on what coffee means in terms of culture, being able to tell stories on connecting the data that comes from coffee in terms of how it's perhaps protecting biodiversity or how it's supporting farmer livelihoods. All of this is part of communication. And the better we can communicate, the more transparent our supply chains are, in which somebody feels that they can very quickly even connect with the producers within their supply chains, even though they live in different countries. These are all incredibly important in terms of strengthening communication from a country or a particular region in a country to the international market. I know there's many, many young Ethiopians. I know you're all very active on social media. I know that you have a lot more skills outside of producing coffee. You're wonderful musicians and you're artists. These are what make people feel coffee. You don't want to just taste coffee. You want to have an emotional response. So please, let's use that opportunity and that gift of art and music along with the coffees, so people have a connection to coffee that's far deeper than taste.
And one more, maybe unrelated question about, have you discussed the Jabana competition with Rania? Have the topic
I have, and I would love, Rania and I have already discussed how we could be partners, or how at least our organization can support the Jabana competition. Rania is one of our favorite people that we've had a chance to meet. The coffee sector is beautiful because we make friends. I mean, when we talk about the spirit of coffee, one of the beautiful things that coffee does is it helps us make friendships. And I'm making a new friend right now with Iman. I met Iman through Rania, and so this idea of Jabina competition is really beautiful, not just as a way of brewing coffee and serving it, but as a way of designing a coffee ceremony that celebrates the culture that you're from. I know in the Netherlands, they call something a bakkidoen. That means to have coffee together. So they have a word for it, but they don't have a ceremony for it. And I think that if Ethiopia, and through a competition like a Jabina competition, can help people design their ceremonies, then each country can learn how to drink coffee the right way, the Ethiopian way, but also bring a little bit of their culture into it, bring a little bit of their music into it, bring a little bit of their food into it. And then we have a completely different experience. And coffee becomes less transactional, and it becomes much more of building relationships and building community together.
You have this beautiful way of painting a vision, and I love the way you describe things. So I can already see Ethiopian coffee ceremony in every part of the world. People just sitting down around the ceremony and adding something to it, and that's beautiful. Thank you for that. And I also feel like that would help our coffee go out more if people are looking at that and be like, well, how would that help me sell my coffee? I just want them to have an understanding what that means, getting the competition out.
I'll give one last technical tip, and that is everyone is sending samples. So most exporters or importers, even roasters, they receive hundreds of samples, and all of the sample labels look the same. Make your samples a bit different. Don't just send samples in a box. Put some pictures of where the coffee comes from. Put some pictures of the farmers. Put some information of your organization. If you can afford it, small souvenir from Ethiopia. And every little bit counts because it will at least give the person that's receiving the sample an opportunity to say, oh, that's different. That's different from all these other samples. Let me try that one. Because we don't want your sample to go to waste. It represents so much. It represents a landscape, it represents people, it represents an organization. But if it doesn't stand out from the rest of the samples, many times they don't even get tasted. And that's sad. So we need to make your samples beautiful so they then at least stand out from all the rest of the samples and catch the attention of the buyer.
Amazing. That's really useful. I've heard that a few times from different buyers, and I think that would be a tip we can really use. We appreciate that.
We have a small how to prepare a sample guide. It's on our website, so if you ever want to just download it, it's very simple. It's free. It's at ethosagriculture.com. So please, and you'll go to our website and you'll see a lot of Ethiopian imagery there because we really, really have learned so much from your country. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for this time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. You gave us a very useful information. I'm sure they'll benefit and they will learn and utilize it.
Oh, I hope so.
I
hope so. Thank you, and I can't wait to come back.
No, we can't wait to have you back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Iman.